Mahabharata reading challenge. And as always, we are going to start with the prayers. Firstly, for Hanuman ji. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निजमन मुकुर सुधार बरनौ रघुवर बिमल जसु जो दायकु फल चार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार. Knowing that this mind of mine has less intelligence, I remember the son of wind, Hanumanji, who granting me strength, wisdom and all kinds of knowledge, removes all my sufferings and shortcomings. निश्चय प्रेम प्रतीत ते विनय करो करे सम्मान ते के कारज सकल शुभ सिद्ध करे हनुमान. जय हनुमान संत हितकारी सुन लीजिए प्रभु अर्ज हमारी जन के काज विलम्ब न कीजिए आतुर दोर महासुख दीजिए. आंखें देखे मौन मुख सहा कहा नहीं जाए लेख विधाता का लिखा कौन किसे समझाए. वचन दिया सोचा नहीं होगा क्या परिणाम सोच समझकर कीजिए जीवन में हर काम. जीवन को समझा रहा जिया हुआ इतिहास जब तक तन में श्वास है तब तक मन में आस कह रही श्वास से धीरज धरना सीख. मांगे बिन मोती मिले मांगे मिले न भीख. है कथा संग्राम की विश्व के कल्याण की धर्म अधर्म आदि अनंत सत्य असत्य कलेश कलंक स्वार्थ की कथा परमार्थ की. शक्ति है भक्ति है जन्मों की मुक्ति है जीवन का ये संपूर्ण सार है. युग युग से कण कण में सृष्टि के दर्पण में वेदों की कथा अपार है. धर्मों की गाथा है देवों की भाषा है सदियों के इतिहास का प्रमाण है. कृष्णा की महिमा है गीता की गरिमा है ग्रंथों का ग्रंथ ये महान है. महाभारत सुख करता दुख हरता वार्ता विघ्नाची नुरवी पूर्वी प्रेम कृपा या जायाची. सर्वांगी सुंदर उदिशेंदुराची काठी जाल के माला मुक्ता फलहांची. जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति दर्शन मात्रे मनोकामना पूर्ति. जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति हो श्री मंगल मूर्ति दर्शन मात्रे मन कामना पूर्ति. जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति. Think him as Vishnu while taking medicines, as Janardhan while eating food, as Padmanabha while in bed, as Prajapati at the time of marriage, as Chakradhara while engaged in war, as Trivikrama while on travel, as Narayana on deathbed, as Sridhara while meeting with the beloved, as Govinda while tossing with bad dreams, as Madhusudan while in trouble, as Narsimha while in the forest, as Jalasayana while fire is ravaging, as Vara while struggling in water, as Raghunandan while lost in a mountain, as Vamana while on the move, and as Madhav while doing everything. यह तो प्रेम की बात है उदो बंदगी तेरे बस की नहीं है. यहाँ सर्दी के होते हैं सौदे आशिकी इतनी सस्ती नहीं है. प्रेम वालों ने कब वक्त पूछा उनकी पूजा में सुन ले रे उदो. यहाँ दम दम में होती है पूजा सर झुकाने की फुर्सत नहीं है. जो असल में है मस्ती में डूबे उन्हें क्या परवाह जिंदगी की. जो उतरती है चढ़ती है मस्ती वो हकीकत में मस्ती नहीं है. जिसकी नज़रों में है शाम प्यारे वो तो रहते हैं जग से निहारे. जिसकी नज़रों में मोहन समाए वो नज़रें फिर तरसती नहीं हैं. कर्पूर गौरम करुणा अवतारम संसार सारम भुजगेंद्र हारम सदा वसंतम हृदय रविंदे भवम भवानी सहितम नमामि. I bow to Bhavani as well as to Lord Shiva, who is white as camphor, who is compassion incarnate, who is the essence of the world, who wears a garland of large snake and who always dwells in the lotus-like hearts of his devotees. And today on day 10 we are going to invoke Hare Krishna Mahamantra and Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, my dear friends, today we are going to read from chapter number 51 until Krishna's mission. Salya against his nephews, Vritra, Nahusa, Sanjay's mission, not a needle point of territory, Krishna's mission. Chapter number 51. So we are on day 10 with chapter number 51 and we still have 11 days to go for rest of the 55 chapters, I guess. So it's a good thing. Let's see if we are able to do this 21 days challenge. Okay, 51 chapter. Salya against his nephews. Salya, the ruler of Madra Desa, was the brother of Madri. Oh, sorry. Salya, the ruler of Madra Desa, was the brother of Madri, the mother of Nakula and Sahadeva. He heard that the Pandavas were camping in the city of Upaplavya and making preparation for war. He collected a very big army and set off towards that city to join the Pandavas. Salya's army was so large that where it halted for rest, the encampment extended over a length of nearly 15 miles. News of Salya and his marching forces reached Duryodhan. Deciding that Salya should somehow be persuaded to join his side, Duryodhan instructed his officers to provide him and his great army with all the facilities and treat them to sumptuous hospitality. In accordance with the Duryodhan's instructions, several beautifully decorated rest houses were erected at several places on the route, at which Salya and his men were treated to wondrous hospitality. Foods and drinks were lavishly provided. Salya was exceedingly pleased with the attentions paid to him, but assumed that his nephew Yudhishthir had arranged all this. Salya's army marched on the earth, shaking beneath their heavy strides. Feeling very pleased with the hospitality, he called the waiting attendants one day and said to them, I must reward you all who have treated me and my soldier with so much love and attention. Please tell Kunti's son that he should let me do this and bring me his consent. The servants went and told their master Duryodhan this. Duryodhan, who was all the time moving unobserved with the party waiting on Salya and his soldiers, at once took this opportunity to present himself before Salya and say how honored he felt at Salya's acceptance of the Kaurva's hospitality. This amazed Salya, whom till then had no suspicion of the truth, and he was also touched by the chivalry of Duryodhan in lavishing kingly hospitality on a partisan of the Pandavas. Greatly moved, he exclaimed, How noble and kind of you! How can I repay you? Duryodhan replied, You and your forces should fight on my side. This is the reward I ask of you. Salya was stunned. So, what did Duryodhan want from his side? That Salya, you must fight from our sides against your nephews, and his nephews were Pandavas. Salya was stunned. The cost, the price he paid for this hospitality and for the chivalry of Duryodhan. The Puranas, wherein right conduct is always preached, sometimes set out stories in which conduct not in conformity with dharma seems condoned. Is it right, one may ask, for religious books thus to seem to justify wrong? A little reflection will enable one to see the matter in proper light. It is necessary to bring home the fact that even wise, good, and great men are liable to fall into error. So, it is necessary to bring home the fact that even wise, good, and great men are liable to fall into the error. That is why the Puranas, although ever seeking to instill dharma, contains narratives to show how in this world even good people seem sometimes sin against dharma, as though irresistibly driven to do so. That is why the Puranas, although ever seeking to instill dharma, contains narratives to show how in this world even good people sometimes sin against dharma, as though irresistibly driven to do so. This is to press home the truth that howsoever learned one may be, humility and constant vigilance are absolutely necessary if one wishes to avoid evil. This is to press home the truth that howsoever learned one may be, humility and constant vigilance are absolutely necessary if one wishes to avoid evil. And that is important, to have humility and constant vigilance. Why indeed did the great authors of our epics write about the lapses of Rama in Ramayana and Yudhishthir in Mahabharata? Where was the need to make mention of them and then labor arguments to explain them away, thereby disturbing men's mind? It was not as though others had discovered the lapses and Vyasa and Valmiki had to defend their heroes. The stories are artistic creation in which lapses they impress the desired moral. The parts dealing with the lapses deeply distress the reader's mind and serve as solemn warning of pitfalls which wait to engulf the careless. The parts dealing with the lapses deeply distress the reader's mind and serve as solemn warning of pitfalls which engulf the careless. They dispose the mind to humility and watchfulness and make it realize the need for divine guidance. They dispose the mind to humility and watchfulness and make it realize the need for the divine guidance. The modern cinema also projects on screen much that is bad and immoral. Whatever may be the explanation offered by the protagonist of the cinema, evil is presented on screen in an attractive fashion that grips people's mind and tempts them into the path of wickedness. That is not so in the Puranas, although they do point out that even great men now and again fell into error and committed wrong. The presentation is such as to warn the reader and not to allure him into evil ways. This is the striking difference between our epics and the modern talkies, which arise from the difference in the character of the people who produced them. You are the same unto us both. I must mean as much to you as the Pandavas. You must agree to come to my aid, said Duryodhan. So Duryodhan said to them, you are same unto us both. I must mean as much to you as the Pandavas. You must agree to come to my aid, said Duryodhan. Salya answered, be it so, flattered by Duryodhan's splendid reception. Flattered by Duryodhan's splendid reception, Salya deserted the Pandavas who were entitled to his love and esteem and pledged his word to fight on Duryodhan's side, which shows what dangers may lurk in receiving hospitalities of king. Salya deserted the Pandavas who were entitled to his love and esteem and pledged his words to fight on Duryodhan's side, which shows what danger may lurk in receiving the hospitality of kings. Feeling that it would not be right to go back without meaning, Yudhishthir Without meeting Yudhishthir, Salya then turned to Duryodhan saying, Duryodhan, believe me, I have given you my words of honor. I must, however, meet Yudhishthir and tell him what I have done. Go see him and return soon, and do not forget your promise to me, said Duryodhan. Good luck to you, go back to your palace, I will not betray you. Saying this, Salya went to the city of Upaplavya, where Yudhishthir was camping. The Pandavas received the ruler of Madra with great eclat, great eclat. Nakula and Sahadev were joyous beyond measure to see their uncle, to whom the Pandavas narrated all their hardships and suffering. When they started talking about obtaining his help in war that was impending, Salya related to them the story of his promise to Duryodhan. Yudhishthir saw at once that it had been a mistake to take Salya's assistance for granted, thereby letting Duryodhan forestall them. Concealing his disappointment as best as he could, Yudhishthir addressed Salya thus: Great warrior, you are bound to keep the promise you have made to Duryodhan. You are the equal of Vasudeva in the battle, and Karna will have you as his charioteer when he seeks Arjun's life in the battlefield. Are you going to be the cause of Arjun's death, or are you going to save him? I know I cannot fairly ask this of you, still I do. Great warrior, you are bound to keep the promise you have made to Duryodhan. You are the equal of Vasudeva in the battle, and Karna will have you as his charioteer. When he seeks Arjuna's life in the battlefield, are you going to be the cause of Arjun's death, or are you going to save him then? I know I cannot fairly ask this of you, still I do. To which Salya rejoined, My lad, I have been tricked into giving Duryodhan my word, and I shall be ranged against you in the battle. But when Karna proceed to attack Arjun, if I happen to be his charioteer, you and Arjun are saved, fear not. So, what is the response of Salya when Yudhishthir asked him that you are going to be the charioteer of Karna, and there are you going to also seek Arjuna's life in the battlefield? Are you going to be the cause of his death, or are you going to save him? And he also mentioned that, I cannot ask you, I cannot fairly ask this of you, still I do. To which Salya rejoined, My lad, I have been tricked into giving Duryodhan my word, and I shall range against you in the battle. But when Karna proceeds to attack Arjun, if I happen to be his charioteer, you may take it. He will go to battle disheartened, and Arjun shall be saved. Fear not. The sorrows and insults which were invited on Draupadi and you all will soon be avenged. Soon be an avenged memory, like a forgotten memory. Henceforth, yours will be good luck. No one can prevent or alter what has been ordained by fate. I have acted wrongly, bear with me. No one can prevent or alter what has been ordained by fate. I have acted wrongly, bear with me. Vritra. Indra, the lord of three regions, was once so drunk with pride that he quite forgot the courteous manner and forms that the god had hitherto observed. When Brihaspati, preceptor of gods, foremost in all branches of learning and venerated alike by the gods and asuras, came to his court, when Brihaspati, the preceptor of the gods, foremost in all branches of learning and venerated alike by the gods and asuras, came to his court, Indra did not rise from his seat to receive the acharya or ask him to be seated, and failed to do the customary honors. So Indra was so drunk with the pride that he quite forgot the courteous manners. So when Brihaspati, preceptor of God, foremost in all branches of learning and venerated alike by gods and asuras, came to his court, Indra did not rise from his seat to receive the acharya or ask him to be seated, and failed to do the customary honors. In his great conceit, Indra persuaded himself to believe that Shastra allowed him as a king in the court the prerogative of receiving guests seated. Brihaspati was hurt by Indra's discourtesy, and attributing it to the arrogance of prosperity silently left the assembly. So Brihaspati was disheartened by this Indra's discourtesy, and he thought it to arrogance of prosperity, and silently they left the assembly. Without the high priest of God, the court lost in splendor and dignity and became an unimpressive gathering. Indra's son realized the foolishness of his conduct, and sensing trouble for himself from the Acharya's displeasure, he thought to make up with him by falling at his feet and asking for forgiveness. But this he could not do, because Brihaspati had in anger made himself invisible. This preyed on Indra's mind. When Brihaspati gone, with Brihaspati gone, Indra's strength began to decline, while that of Asuras increased, which encouraged the latter to attack the god. With Brihaspati gone, Indra's strength began to decline, while that of Asuras increased, which okay. So when the Brihaspati is gone, Indra's strength began to decline, while the Asuras increased, which encouraged the latter to attack the gods. Then Brahma, taking pity on the Bela-guarded gods, advised them to take unto themselves a new acharya. So, uh, the acharyas, the acharya of gods were Brihaspati, and because of this disrespect from Indra, he made himself invisible, and thus Indra's strength began to decline, and the Asuras wanted now to attack the gods. And then Brahma told them to have a new Acharya. Said he to them, "You have through Indra's folly lost Brihaspati. Go now to Twatsa's son Vishwarupa and request that noble spirit to be your preceptor, and all will be well with you." Said he to them, "You have through Indra's folly lost Brihaspati. Go now to Twatsa's son Vishwarupa and request that noble spirit to be your preceptor, and all will be well with you." Heartened by these words, the god sought the youthful anchorite Vishwarupa and made their request to him, saying, "Though young in years, you are well versed in Vedas. Do us the honor of being our teacher." Vishwarupa agreed, to the great advantage of the gods, for as a result of his guidance and teaching, they were saved from tormenting asuras. Vishwarupa agreed, to the great advantage of the gods, for as a result of his guidance and teaching, they were saved from the tormenting asuras. Vishwarupa's mother was of the Asuras clan of Daityas, which caused Indra to regard Vishwarupa with suspicion. He feared that because of his birth, Vishwarupa might not be quite loyal, and his suspicion gradually deepened. Okay, so Vishwarupa's mother was of Asura's clan of Daityas, which caused Indra to regard Vishwarupa with suspicion. He feared that because of his birth, Vishwarupa might not be quite loyal, and his suspicion gradually deepened. So he started to suspect Vishwarupa because Vishwarupa belonged to the Asura clan. So Indra was quite suspicious of Vishwarupa. Apprehending danger to himself from this descendant of enemy of gods, Indra sought to entice him into error with the tempresses of his court, and so weaken him spiritually. But Vishwarupa did not succumb. So Indra tried to sought him or sought to entice him in error, like he wanted to take some kind of exam for Vishwarupa, but Vishwarupa did not succumb to his plan or temptresses. The artful and seductive blandishments of Indra's glamorous girl had no effect on young ascetic. He held fast to his vow of celibacy. When Indra found that his plan of seduction failed, he gave way to murderous thought and one day killed Vishwarupa with Vajrayudha. Okay, when Indra found that his plan of seduction failed, he gave way to murderous thought. See, Indra being the, like, he was the lord of 3 regions, and now initially he got suspicion for Vishwarupa, and then he wanted to take his test through the glamorous girl. He through the like Indra's glamorous girl had also no effect on this Vishwarupa. Then Indra found that his plan of seduction failed. He gave way to murderous thoughts. See how we proceed, even the gods. And one day killed Vishwarupa with Vajrayudha. The story goes that the world suffer viciously for the great sin of Indra, and as a result of it, part of earth turned alkaline and became unsuitable for cultivation, and women came to be afflicted with the physical troubles and uncleanness peculiar to them. The frothing of water is also attributed to this. So, because of this killing of Vishwarupa, the world also suffered viciously for this great sin of Indra, and as a result of it, part of earth turned alkaline and became unsuitable for cultivation, and women came to be afflicted with the physical troubles and uncleanness peculiar to them. The frothing of water is also attributed to this. Twashata, in his great rage and grief at Indra's cruel killing of his son and desirous of avenging his death, performed a great sacrifice, and out of the sacrificial flames sprang Indra's mortal enemy Vritra. Twashta, the father of this Vishwarupa. He was in great rage and grief on cruel killing of his son and desirous of avenging his death, performed a great sacrifice, and out of that sacrificial flame sprang Indra's mortal enemy Vritra. Twasta sent him against the chief of the gods, saying, "Enemy of Indra, may you be strong and may you kill Indra." A great battle raged between the two, in which Vritra was gaining the upper hand. When the battle was going against Indra, the rishis and the gods sought refuge in great Vishnu, who offered them protection and said to them, "Be not afraid, I shall enter Indra's Vajrayudha and he will win the battle in the end." And they returned in good heart. Okay. So when the battle was going against Indra, all the rishis and gods sought refuge in great Vishnu, who offered them protection and said to them, "Be not afraid, I will be with you. I shall be with, I shall enter into Indra's Vrajayuddha and he will win the battle in the end." They went to Vritra and said to him, "Please make friends with Indra. You are both equal in strength and valor." Vritra, Vritra respectfully answered, "Oh, they went to Vritra and said to him, "Please make friends with Indra. You both are equal in strength and valor." Vritra respectfully answered, "O blameless one, how can Indra and I become friends? Forgive me. There cannot be friendship between rivals for supremacy. Two great powers cannot coexist, as you know." The rishis said in reply, "Do not entertain such doubts. Two good souls can be friends, and friendship is often after hostility." The rishis said, "Do not entertain such doubts. Two good souls can be friends, and their friendship is often after hostility." Vritra yielded, saying, "Well, then I shall cease fighting, but I have no faith in Indra. He might take me unawares. So I seek this boon of you, namely that neither by day nor by night, neither with dry weapons nor with wet ones, neither with stones nor with woods, nor with metals nor with arrows shall Indra be able to take my life." So, on request of rishis, that please, you both can be friends, but Vritra said that, "Okay, I shall cease fighting, but I have no faith in Indra. So, I seek your boon, that neither by day nor by night, neither with dry weapon nor with wet ones, neither with stone nor with wood, nor with metal, nor with arrows, shall Indra be able to take my life. So be it," said the rishis and god. Hostility ceased, but soon Vritra's fears were confirmed. Indra only feigned friendship for Vritra, but was all the time waiting for a suitable opportunity to slay him. One evening he met Vritra on the beach and began to attack him in the twilight. The battle had raged for a long while when Vritra, praising the Lord Vishnu, said to Indra, "Meanest of mean, why do you not use the unfailing Vajrayuddha? Hallowed, hallowed by Hari, use it against me and I shall attain blessedness through Hari." Oh, Vritra, praising the Lord Vishnu, said to Indra, "Meanest of mean, why do you not use the unfailing Vajrayuddha? Hallowed by Hari, use it against me and I shall attain blessedness through Hari." Indra maimed Vritra by chopping off his right arm, but undaunted, the latter hurled with his left band his iron mace at his assailant, who thereupon cut down his other arm also. When Indra disappeared into the mouth of Vritra, great was the concern, consternation of gods. But Indra was not dead. He ripped Vritra's belly open and issuing forth went to the nearby beach, and directing his thunderbolt at the water hurled it so that the surf flew and hit Vritra. Vishnu having entered the form, it became a deadly weapon, and the mighty Vritra lay dead. The long battle thus ended, and the afflicted world have a sigh of relief. But to Indra himself, the end of the war brought only ignominy, because his victory was secured through sin and deceit, and is went into hiding for sheer shame. Indra's disappearance caused the gods and Rishi great distress, for people without a king or council of state to govern them cannot prosper. So they went to the god and mighty king Nahusa. Okay, so they went to the good and mighty king Nahusa and offered him the crown. Forgive me, I cannot be your king. Who am I to aspire to seat of Indra? How can I protect you? It is impossible, he humbly objected, but they insisted, saying, do not hesitate, be anointed our king. All the merit and potency of our penance will be yours and be an addition to your strength. The power and energy of everyone you set your eyes on shall be transferred to you, and you will be invincible. Thus overpowered, he agreed. Revolution is no new thing. This story shows that God, even in the world of gods, there was a revolution leading to Indra's dethronement and Nahusa's installation as king in his stead. The story of Nahusa's fall is also instructive. Okay. That even in the world of God, there was a revolution leading to Indra's dethronement and Nahusa's installation as king in his stead. Okay, now let's see Nahusa's fall. Nahusa, the sin of unrighteousness, slaughter of Vritra, pulled Indra down from his high estate and made him a fugitive. Nahusa became king of gods and in his stead. Nahusa started well, assisted by the merit and fame earned by him while he was a king on earth. Thereafter, he fell on evil days. The assumption of the kingship of the gods filled him with arrogance. He lost his humility and became filled with lawless desires. The assumption of God filled him with arrogance. He lost his humility and became filled with lawless desires. Nahusa indulged freely in pleasures of heaven and gave him up to the untamed and lecherous thoughts. One day he saw Indra's wife and became enamored of her. Possessed by evil thoughts, he spoke in tones of command to the assembled gods. Nahusa indulged freely in the pleasures of heaven and gave him up to untamed and lecherous thoughts. One day he saw Indra's wife and became enamored of her. Okay. Possessed by evil thoughts, he spoke in tones of command to the assembled gods. So one day he saw Indra's wife and then he became enamored of her. Why has not Sachi Devi, the wife of the king of gods, come to me? Am I not the king of gods now? Send her to my house soon. When she learned this, Indra's wife was indignant. In fear and distress, she went to Brihaspati and cried out, Preceptor, save me from this wicked person. Brihaspati offered her protection. Fear not, he said. Indra will soon be back. Stay here with me, you will regain your husband. When Nahusa learned that Sachi Devi did not agree to fall in with his wishes and that she sought and obtained shelter under Brihaspati's roof, he became exceedingly angry. The king's displeasure frightened the gods. They protested, King of the gods, be not angry. Your anger will make the world sad. Sachi Devi is another's wife. Do not covet her. Do not swerve from the path of righteousness. But the infatuated Nahusa would not listen to them. Tauntingly, he said to them, when Indra lusted for Ahalya, where were your principles of righteousness and good conduct? Why did you not prevent him then? And why do you stop me now? What did you do when he so shamelessly murdered Vishwarupa when the letter was in the penance? And where was your virtuous horror when he killed Vritra through deceit? Sachi Devi's only course is to come and live with me, and it will be for your good to get her reconciled to my proposal and leave her in my charge. So now set about it, ordered Nahusa. The affrighted gods decided to talk the matter over with Brihaspati and somehow contrived to bring Sachi Devi to Nahusa. They all went to Brihaspati and related to him what Nahusa Nahusha had said and pleaded that Sachi Devi should submit to Nahusa's desire, at which the chaste Sachi Devi shook with shame and fear and cried out, "My God, I cannot do it. I sought refuge on you. O Brahmana, do protect me." Brihaspati consoled her and said, "He who betrays one who has sought refuge will meet with his destruction. The very earth will not let the seed that he sows sprout. I will not give you up. Nahusa's end is approaching. Be not afraid." Oh, that's Brihaspati said. Brihaspati consoled her and said, "He who betrays one who has sought refuge will meet with destruction. The very earth will not let the seed that he sows sprout. I will not give you up. Nahusa's end is approaching. Be not afraid." He indicated a way of escape from difficult situation by hinting that she should pray for time, and the shrewd Sachi Devi took the hint and bravely went to Nahusa's palace. He indicated a way of escape for her difficult situation by hinting that she should pray for time, and the shrewd Sachi Devi took the hint and bravely went to Nahusa's palace. As soon as Nahusa saw her, pride and lust having deprived him of his senses, he was beside himself with joy and said, "O fair one, do not tremble. I am the Lord of three regions. There can be no sin in your there can be no sin in your becoming my wife." Hearing the wicked man's word, the virtuous Indrani, Indra's wife, trembled for a moment. Hearing the wicked man's word, the virtuous Indrani, Indra's wife, trembled for a moment. Soon regaining composure, she replied, "King of gods, before I become your, I have a request to make. Is Indra alive or is he dead? If he is alive, where is he? If, after making inquiries and searching for him, I do not find him, then no sin will attach to me, and I could become your wife with a clear conscience." Nauza said, "What you say is right. Go and search for him and be sure to return. Remember the plighted word." Saying this, he sent her back to Brihaspati's house. The gods went to the great Vishnu and complained to him of Nausa. They said, "Lord, it was your might that killed Vritra, but Indra bears the sin of it, and ashamed and afraid to show himself in his unclean state, he has hidden himself. Pray indicate a way of deliverance for him." Narayana said in reply, "Let him worship me, he will be cleansed of sin, and the evil minded Nausa will meet the destruction." So, what did Narayana said? Let him worship me, he will be cleansed of sins, and the evil minded Nausa will meet with destruction. Sachi Devi prayed to the goddess of chastity, and by her grace reached where Indra was in hiding. Indra had reduced himself to the size of an atom, and he hid himself in a fiber of stem of lotus plant growing in Mansarovar. He was doing penance in that state, waiting for the better days. Sachi Devi could not contain herself for sorrow at her husband's plight and burst into tears. She acquainted him with troubles. Indra spoke words of courage to her. Nausa's end is drawing near. He said, "Go to him by yourself and tell him that your consent to his proposal. Ask him to come to your residence in a palanquin carried by ascetics. Then Nausa will be destroyed." Sachi Devi went and pretended to agree to Nausa's proposal as Indra had asked her to do. Overjoyed that she had returned to him in this complacent mood, okay, so Sachi Devi went and pretended to agree to Nausa's proposal as Indra had asked her to do. Overjoyed that she had returned to him in this complacent mood, the foolish Nausa burst out, "Blessed one, I am your slave and ready to do you your every bidding. You have been true to your word." "Yes, I have come back. You will be my husband. I want you to do something which I very much desire. Are you not the lord of the world? It is my wish that you should come majestically to my house in grander style than the great Vishnu or Rudras or Asuras. Let the palanquin be borne by the seven rishis. I shall then be glad and receive you and bid you welcome, she said. Nahusa fell into the trap. What a grand idea! Your imagination is wonderful. It pleases me exceedingly. It is but proper that the great rishis should carry me, who am blessed with the powers of absorbing the energy those on whom my eyes fall. I shall do exactly as you have wished, said he, and sent her back home. The infatuated Nahusa called the rishis and bade them carry him on their shoulders. At the sacrilege, the three worlds were aghast and trembled, but worse was to come as the palanquin was carried along. Inflamed with thoughts of this beautiful Sachi Devi waiting for him, Nausa was impatient to reach her soon, so he began goading the rishi bearers of the palanquin to go faster. At this sacrilege, the three worlds were aghast and trembled. But worse was to come as the palanquin was carried along. Inflamed with thoughts of this beautiful Sachi Devi waiting for him, Nahusa was impatient to reach her soon, so he began goading the rishi bearers of his palanquin to go faster. And he went so far in his mad wickedness as to kick Agastya, one of the bearers, saying, Sarpa, Sarpa. Sarpa means to move and also a serpent. The insanity of lust and arrogance had reached its culmination. Nahusa's cup of iniquity was full. Meanest of mean, do you fall from heaven and became a sarpa on earth? Cursed the rishi in his wrath. Immediately Nahusa fell headlong down from heaven and became a python in the jungle and had to wait several thousand years for his deliverance. Indra was restored to his state. He became the king of the gods, and Sachi Devi's grief ended. Relating his story of the sufferings of Indra and his wife to Yudhishthir and Draupadi at Upaplavya, their uncle Salya tried to comfort them. Victory awaits the patient. Those whom prosperity makes arrogant meet the destruction. You, your brothers, and Draupadi have gone through untold suffering like Indra and his wife. Your trials will soon be over and you will regain your kingdom. The evil minded Karna and Duryodhan were destroyed even as Nahusa was, said Salya. Victory awaits the patient. Those whom prosperity makes arrogant meet with destruction. Victory awaits the patient. Those whom prosperity makes arrogant meet with destruction. You, your brother, and Draupadi have gone through untold mysteries, sufferings like Indra and his wife. Your trials will soon be over, and you will regain your kingdom. The evil-minded Karna and Duryodhan will be destroyed, even as Nahusa, said Salya. So Salya was telling the story of Indra and his wife and their sufferings, and with a very good message that victory awaits the patient. Those whom prosperity makes arrogant meet the destruction. Sanjaya's mission. The Pandavas were camping at Upaplavya in Virata's territory. From there, they sent emissaries, emissaries to all friendly rulers. Contingents arrived from all the parts of the country, and soon the Pandavas had a mighty force of 7 divisions. The Kauravas did likewise and collected an army of 11 divisions. Then, as now, division was made up of all arms grouped together in accordance with the established military practice. In those days, a division consisted 21,870 chariots, an equal number of 11 elephants, thrice as many horses, and 5 times as many foot soldiers, and they were provided with weapons of all kinds and other war equipments. Chariots were the armed cars of ancient warfare, and elephants specially trained for war, correspond to the tanks of modern times. Draupada's Brahman messenger reached Dhritarashtra's court. Reached Dhritarashtra's court. After the usual ceremonial introduction and inquiries were over, the messenger addressed the assembled gathering on behalf of the Pandavas. Law is eternal and inherent validity. Law is eternal and of inherent validity. You know this, and I need not point it out to you. Dhritarashtra and Pandu are both Vichitravirya's sons, and are, according to our usage, equally entitled to their father's property. In spite of this, Dhritarashtra's sons have taken possession of the whole kingdom, while Pandu's sons are without their share of the common inheritance. There can be no justification for this. Scions of the Kuru dynasty, the Pandavas desire peace. They are prepared to forget the suffering they have undergone and to let bygones be bygones. They are unwilling to resort the war because they fully know that war never brings any good but only destruction render onto them. Therefore, the things that are due to them, this would be in accordance both with justice and with the agreement previously reached. Let there be no delay. After this appeal of messenger, the wise and brave Bhishma spoke. By the grace of God, he said, Pandavas are safe and well. Although they have obtained the support of many prince and are strong enough for the battle, they are not bent on war. They still seek peace. To restore to them their prosperity is the only right thing to do. Bhishma had not finished when Karna angrily broke in and turning to the messenger exclaimed, O Brahman, is there anything new in what you have said? What tortures it to tell you to the same story? How can Yudhishthir claim the property that he lost at the game board? If now Yudhishthir wants anything, he must beg for it as a gift. He arrogantly prefers this absurd claim in front of reliance on the strength of his allies, particularly Matsya and Panchala. Let me tell you clearly that nothing can be go out of Duryodhan by threats. As the plighted word that the Pandavas should live undiscovered during the 13 years has been broken, they must once again go back to the forest for another 12 years and return thereafter. Bhishma interposed, Son of Radha, you speak foolishly. If we do not do as this messenger tells us, war will upon us, in which we are certain to be defeated, and Duryodhan and all of us are doomed to destruction. The disorder and excitement in the assembly made Dhritarashtra intervene. He said to messenger, having in mind the good of the world and considering Pandava's welfare, I have decided to send Sanjaya to them. Please return at once and tell Yudhishthir this. The Dhritarashtra called Sanjaya aside and instructed him thus, Sanjaya, go to the sons of Pandu and convey to them my affectionate regards and my kind inquiries about Krishna, Satyaki, and Virata. Give all princes assembled there my regard. Go there on my behalf and speak conciliatingly as to secure the avoidance of war. Sanjaya went to Yudhishthir on this mission of peace. After the introductory salutations, Sanjaya thus addressed Yudhishthir in the midst of his court. Dharamputra, it is my good fortune to be able to see you again with my eyes. Surrounded by prince, you present the picture of Indra himself. The sight gladdens my heart. King Dhritarashtra sends you his best wishes and desire to know that you are well and happy. The son of Ambika, Dhritarashtra, detests all talks of war. He desires your friendship and yearns for peace. When Dharmputra heard Sanjaya say this, he felt glad and answered, If so, Dhritarashtra's sons have been saved. Nay, we have all escaped a great tragedy. I too desire only peace and hate war. If our kingdom is returned to us, we will wipe out all the memories of sufferings we have undergone. Sanjaya spoke again, Dhritarashtra's sons and perverse. Disregarding their father's advice and their grandsire's wise word, they are still as wicked as ever. But you should not lose patience. Yudhishthir, you stand ever for right conduct. Let us eschew the great evil of war. Can happiness be gained with the possession obtained through war? What good can we reap from a kingdom won after killing our own relatives? Do not therefore commence hostilities, even if one were to gain the whole earth bounded by the ocean. Old age and death are inescapable. Duryodhan and his brothers are fooled, but that is no reason why you should swerve from gratitude or lose patience. Even if they do not give back your kingdom, you should not abandon the supreme path of Dharma. What is there? Sanjay spoke again. Dhritarashtra's sons are perverse, disregarding their father's advice and their grandsire wise words. They are still as wicked as ever. But you should not lose patience. Yudhishthir, you stand ever for right conduct. Let us eschew the great evil of war. Can happiness be gained with possession obtained through war? What good can we reap from a kingdom won after killing our own relatives? Do not therefore commence hostilities, even if one were to gain the whole earth bound by the ocean. Old age and death are inescapable. Duryodhan and his brothers are fools, but that is no reason why you should swerve from gratitude or lose patience. Even if they do not give back your kingdom, you should not abandon the supreme path of Dharma. Yudhishthir answered Sanjaya, what you say is true. Rectitude is the best of possession, but are we committing wrong? Krishna knows the intricacies of rectitude and Dharma. He wishes both sides well. I shall do as Vasudeva's order. Krishna said, I desire the welfare of Pandavas. I desires also Dhritarashtra and his son should be happy. This is a difficult matter. I think I can settle this issue by myself going to Hastinapur. I desire the welfare of Pandavas. I desire also that desire Dhritarashtra and his sons should be happy. This is difficult matter. I think I can settle this issue by going myself to Hastinapur. So that are the words of Krishna. Krishna. If I could obtain peace from Kauravas on terms that do not conflict with the warfare of all, nothing would make me and Pandavas happier. If I succeed in doing so, the Kauravas will have been rescued from the jaws of death. I shall also have achieved something good and worthwhile, even if though through a peaceful settlement the Pandavas get back what is due to them. They will serve Dhritarashtra loyally. They desire nothing else, but they are also prepared for war if needed be. Of these two alternatives, peace and war, Dhritarashtra can choose what he pleases. And Yudhishthir said to Sanjaya, Sanjaya, go back to Kaurava's court and tell the son of Ambika this from me. Was it not through your generosity that we obtained a share of kingdom when we were young? You who made me a king once should not deny us our share now and drive us to make beggar living on the charity of others. Dear uncle, there is enough room in the world for both of us and Kaurav. Let there be no antagonism, therefore, between us. Thus, should you request the Dhritarashtra on my behalf, give the grandsire my love and regards and ask him to devise some way of ensuring that his grandchildren live happily in amity. Convey the same message to Vidura. Also, Vidura is the person who can best see what is good for all of us and advise accordingly. Explain matters to Duryodhan and tell him on my behalf, my dear brother, you made us who were princes of the who were prince of realm. I live in forests clad of skins. You insulted and harassed our weeping wife in the assembly of princes. We bore all this patiently. Give us back at least now what is lawfully ours. Do not covet what belongs to other. We are five. For the five of us, give at least 5 villages and make peace with us. We shall be content. Saying thus to Duryodhan, Sanjaya, I am prepared and ready for peace as well as for war. After Yudhishthira has said this word, Sanjaya took leave of Keshava and Pandavas and went back to Hastinapur. Not a needle point of territory. After he had dispatched Sanjaya to Pandavas, Dhritarashtra, filled with anxiety, could not get a wink of sleep that night. He sent for Vidura and spent the whole night talking to him. To give the Pandavas their share of kingdom is the safest plan, said Vidura. Only this can bring good to both sides. Treat the Pandavas and your own sons with equal affection. In this case, the right course is also the wise one. Vidura counseled Dhritarashtra in this manner at great length. The next morning, Sanjaya returned to Hastinapur and gave a full account of what had taken place in Yudhishthir's court. Chiefly, Duryodhan should know what Arjuna said. Krishna and I are going to destroy Duryodhan and his followers, roots and branch. Make no mistake about it. The Gandhiva bow is impatient for war. My bowstring is throbbing even without my stretching it, and from my quiver arrows keep peeping out impatiently, demanding when. Sanjaya, evil stars make the foolish Duryodhan seek war with Krishna and myself. Not even Indra and the gods can defeat us. Thus spoke Duryodhan. Said Sanjaya. So the next morning, Sanjaya returned to Hastinapur and gave a full account of what had taken place in Yudhishthir courts. Chiefly, Duryodhan should know what Arjuna said. Krishna and I are going to destroy Duryodhan and his followers. Roots and branch, make no mistake about it. The Gandhiva bow is impatient for war. My bowstring is throbbing even without my stretching it. And from my quiver, arrows keep peeping out impatiently, demanding when. Sanjaya, evil stars make the foolish Duryodhan seek war with Krishna and myself. So these are the words of Arjun. Not even Indra and gods can defeat us. Thus spoke Dhananjaya, said Sanjay. Bhishma counseled Dhritarashtra against opposing the combined might of Arjun and Krishna. Bhishma counseled Dhritarashtra against opposing the combined might of Arjun and Krishna. Karna, who boasts repeatedly he will slay the Pandavas, said Bhishma, is not equal to a 16th part of the Pandavas. Your sons are heading for destruction. Listening to his words when Arjuna beat back your son's attack on Virata's capital and humbled his pride, what was Karan able to do? When the Gandharvas took your son prisoners, where did the invincible Karna bide himself? Was it not Arjun who drove back the Gandharvas? Thus did Bhishma taunt Karna and warn the Kauravas. What grandfather Bhishma say is the only proper thing to do, said Dhritarashtra. All wise men say, and I know what is the best to seek peace. But what can I do? These fools would go their own. However, loudly I protest. Duryodhans, who had been listening to all this, stood up. Father, do not worry and tremble about our safety. We know how strong we are, that we shall win in certain. Yudhishthir knows it too. For giving up all hope of kingdom, he only begs now for 5 villages. Is it not clear from this that he is already scared about our 11 divisions? What can the Pandavas oppose to our 11 divisions? Why then do you doubt our victory? Duryodhan said to his father and tried to cheer him up. My son, let us not have the war, said Dhritarashtra. Be satisfied with the half the kingdom. It is enough if we govern the half well. Duryodhan could stand it no longer. The Pandavas will not receive even a needle point territory. So Dhritarashtra said, "My son, let us not have war. Be satisfied with half of the kingdom. It is enough if we govern if it is enough if we govern that half well." Duryodhan could stand it no longer. The Pandavas will not receive even a needle point of territory, he exclaimed and left the court. In the excitement that prevailed, the court broke up. Let us now relate what the Pandavas were saying among themselves. After Sanjaya left Upaplavya for Hastinapur, Yudhishthira said to Krishna, Vasudeva, Sanjaya is Dhritarashtra's alter ego. Let us now relate what Pandavas were saying among themselves after Sanjaya left Upaplavya for Hastinapur. Yudhishthira said to Krishna, Vasudeva, Sanjaya is Dhritarashtra, alter's ego. From his speech, I have divined what is in Dhritarashtra's mind. I have divined what is in Dhritarashtra's mind. Dhritarashtra is trying to secure peace without giving us a territory. In my simplicity, I was glad at first when I heard Sanjaya speak, but it soon became clear that my joy was unfounded. He then struck a middle line and spoke, desiring peace. But the words with which he ended his message seemed to command meekness to us. Even if our just rights were denied, Dhritarashtra has not been playing fair with us. The crisis is approaching. There are none but you to protect us. I made my offer that we would be content with only 5 villages. The wicked Kauravas will refuse even this. How can we tolerate the height of intransigence? Only you can advise us to the crisis. There is none but you who knows what our duty is now and can guide us in dharma as well as in statesmanship. Krishna said in reply, for the good of you both, I have decided to go to Hastinapur. I shall go to Dhritarashtra court and try to secure your rights without war. If my mission succeed, it will be for good of the world. Yudhishthir said, Krishna, pray do not go. What is the good of your going to the enemy's place now? So basically here Yudhishthir said, Krishna, pray do not go. What is good of your going to enemy's place now? The perverse Duryodhan will stick to his folly. I do not like your going among those unscrupulous men. We cannot let you jeopardize your safety, for the Kauravas will stop at nothing. Krishna answered, Dharmputra, I know how wicked Duryodhan is, but still we should make all attempts at a peaceful solution so as to give the world no cause to accuse us of not having done everything possible to avert war. We must omit nothing, no matter how slender our hopes of success. Have no fears for my safety, for if the Kauravas offer me a messenger of peace, any threat of bodily harm, I will reduce them to ashes. Said Yudhishthir, you are well knowing, you know our hearts as well as theirs. In expounding matters, and in the art of persuasion there is nothing better than you. Krishna said, yes, I know you both. Your mind ever clings to righteousness, and there is always steeped in hatred, jealousy, and enmity. I will do all I can to secure the result which I know is dear to you, a settlement reached without war, even though it may have but little for you. The signs are ominous and portend war. Still, duty demands that we should make the attempt of peace. Thus saying, Krishna took leave of the Pandavas and set off in his chariot to Hastinapur. Krishna's mission. Satyaki accompanied Govinda to Hastinapur. Before setting out on his journey, Krishna had a lone discussion with the Pandavas. Even the mighty Bhima rather surprisingly supported peaceful settlement. Let not the race be destroyed. Peace is very much to be preferred, said he. The poet Vyasa makes Bhim speak thus in order to show that truly great warrior desire peace, and that to seek peace is not a sign of fear. But Draupadi could not forget her humiliation. Holding her locks in her hand, she stood before Krishna and in a voice quivering with grief, she said, Madhusudan, look at these tresses of mine and do what honor requires to be done. There can be no peace with honor. Even if Arjuna and Bhim are against war, my father, old though is, will go to the battle supported by my children. Even if my father can keep out, my children will, with Subhadra's son Abhimanyu at their head, will fight the Kauravas. I have, for the sake of Dharamputra, these 13 years suppressed the burning flame of anger within me. I can restrain myself no longer. And she sobbed, remembering the great outrage. Krishna was moved and said, weep not, Dhritarashtra's son will not listen to my word of peace. They are going to fall, and their bodies will be food for wild dogs and jackals. You will live to see us victorious, and the insult to you will be fully avenged, and that too soon. Draupadi was satisfied. Madhava Krishna halted for the night near the city of Kochatsala. Kukatsala. When news of Krishna's forthcoming visit came, the city was in great excitement. Dhritarashtra issued order for decorating the city and arrangement for receiving Janardhan in full swing. Dhritarashtra issued instruction that Dushasan palace, being bigger and more beautiful than Duryodhan's, should be got ready and placed at the disposal of Krishna and his entourage, and large tents erected in several places outside the city along the route which Krishna's chariot was to take. Dhritarashtra consulted Vidura. He said to him, make arrangement for presenting Govinda with chariots and elephants. Presents of other kinds should not be got ready. But Vidura said, Govinda cannot be bought with presents. Give him that for which he is coming to the land of Kurus. Does he not come here speaking of peaceful settlement? Make that possible. You cannot satisfy Madhav with other gifts. When Govinda reached Hastinapur, the citizens had thronged in such number and decorated street that his chariot could only progress very slowly. He went first to Dhritarashtra's palace and then proceeded to Vidura's house. Kunti Devi met him there. Thinking of the sufferings of her son and overpowered by grief, she wept. Krishna comforted her and taking leave of her, made for Duryodhan's palace. Thinking of the suffering of her sons and overpowered by grief, she wept. Krishna comforted her and taking leave of her made for Duryodhana's palace. Duryodhana gave Govinda welcome and invited him to dinner, but Krishna said with a smile, emissaries eat only after their mission is fulfilled. You may give a feast when my work here is completed. Declining Duryodhana's invitation, he returned to Vidura's house where he rested. Vidura and Krishna took counsel together. Vidura told him that Duryodhana's arrogance was based on his confidence that no one can defeat him as long as Bhishma and Drona, who he knew were under a moral obligation not to abandon him, stood by him. Vidura said that it would be a mistake for Govinda even to enter the wicked men's court. All who knew Duryodhana and his brother apprehended that they would plot through fraud and decide against Krishna's life. Oh no. What you say about Duryodhana is true. I have not come here with any hope that I would be able to secure a peaceful settlement, but only in order that the world might not hold me to blame. Have no fear for my life, said Krishna. The next morning Duryodhana and Shakuni came to Krishna and informed him that Dhritarashtra was waiting for him. Govinda went to the court along with Vidura. As Vasudeva came into the court, that great assemblage of the kings stood up, saluting the elders with folded hands. With a word or a smile for the other, Krishna took his seat. The introduction over. Govinda rose from his seat and turning to Dhritarashtra explained the object of his visit. He made clear that Pandavas wanted. So he said, Krishna said, Dhritarashtra, do not bring ruin to your people. You regard as bad what is good for you, and as good what is bad. It is your duty to restrain your son. The Pandavas are prepared for war, but they desire peace. They wish to live in happiness under you. Treat them also as your son and devise an honorable solution, and the world will acclaim you, said Krishna. Dhritarashtra said, my friends know that I am not to blame. I desire precisely what Madhava has stated, but I am powerless. My wicked son, do not listen to me. Krishna, I entreat you to advise Duryodhana. Krishna turned to Duryodhana and said, you are descendant of noble line. Pursue the path of dharma. Your present thoughts are unworthy and befit only men of low birth. On account of you, this famous line is danger of being destroyed. You are the descendant of noble line. Pursue the path of dharma. Your present thoughts are unworthy and befit only men of low birth. On account of you, this famous line is in danger of being destroyed. If you listen to reason and justice, the Pandavas themselves will install Dhritarashtra as king and you as their higher apartment. Make peace with them by giving them half of the kingdom. Bhishma and Drona also pressed Duryodhana to listen to Govinda. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bajami. But Duryodhana's heart could not be softened. I pity Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, whom Duryodhana is dooming to bereavement and desolation by his misdeeds, said Vidura. Dhritarashtra once again said to his son, if you do not listen to Govinda's advice, our race will perish. So Krishna gave advice to Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra said, I also desire peace, but I am powerless. My wicked son, do not listen to me. And then pursue the path of dharma. Your present thoughts are unworthy and befit only men of low birth. On account of you, this famous line is danger of being destroyed. If you listen to the reason and justice, The Pandavas themselves will install Dhritarashtra as king and you as the higher apartment. Make peace with them by giving them half the kingdom. Dhritarashtra once again said to his son, if you do not listen to Govinda's advice, your race will perish. Dronas and Bhishma also tried rapidly to persuade Duryodhan and turn him from error. Duryodhan was furious with everyone for pressing him in this matter to agree to a peaceful solution. He rose and said, Madhusudan, you wrong me out of love for Pandavas. Drona and Bhishma also tried rapidly to persuade Bhishma and turn him for, from error. Duryodhan was furious with everyone for pressing him in this matter to agree to a peaceful solution. He rose and said, Madhusudan, you wrong me out of love for the Pandavas. The other here also blame me, but I do not think I am one whit to blame this matter. The Pandavas, of their own volition, stake their kingdom at the play and being defeated, justly forfeited it. How am I responsible for it? Losing the game, they went to the forest as in honor bound. For what fault of mine do they now seek battle and wish to slay us? I will not yield to threats. When I was young, the elder did us grievous wrong by giving the Pandavas. I do not know why a part of the kingdom to which they had not a shadow of a right. I acquiesced then, but they lost it as a play. I refuse to return it to them. I am utterly blameless. I will not give the Pandavas an inch of land, not even a needle point of it. When Duryodhan said that he had not committed wrong, Govinda laughed and said, the play was fraudulently arranged by you in conspiracy with Shakuni, and you afterwards insulted Draupadi in an assembly of princes, and yet you have the impudence to say that you have committed no wrong, and remained him of other iniquities that had perpetrated against the Pandavas. When Duryodhan said that he had not committed wrong, Govinda laughed and said, the play was fraudulently arranged by you in conspiracy with Shakuni, and you afterward insulted Draupadi in an assembly of princes. And yet you have the impudence to say that you have committed no wrong, and reminded him of the other iniquities he had perpetrated against the Pandavas. Dushasan, seeing that Bhishma and others were accepting Krishna's indictment, Duryodhan said, brother, it seems that these people have a plot to bind you with ropes and hand you over to the Pandavas. Let us not get away from here. And Duryodhan, accompanied by his brothers, walked out of the court. Govinda addressed to the court again and said, sires, the Yadavs and Vrishnis live happily now that Kamsa and Sisupala are dead. In order to save a whole people, it is sometimes necessary to sacrifice an individual. Does it not happen occasionally that a village is abandoned in order that the country may be saved? I am afraid you will have to sacrifice Duryodhan if you want to save your race. This is the only way. Dhritarashtra said to Vidura, bring far-sighted Gandhari here. It is possible that Duryodhan might listen to her. Gandhari was sent for, and then she came to court. Duryodhan was sent for. Duryodhan, his eyes red with anger, returned, and Gandhari tried by all means in her power to bring him round to reason. Duryodhan said no and again walked out of the hall. He and his friends had plotted to seize Krishna. News of this reached the court. Govinda, who had anticipated all this, laughed and disclosed his divinity. The blind Dhritarashtra, by the grace of Krishna, temporarily regained his sight and was able to see Krishna in his Vishwarupa presence in every form. Pundari Pundarikaksha, lotus-eyed Krishna. Having seen your Visvarupa, I do not wish to see anything else. I ask that I should be blind again, said Dhritarashtra, and became blind again. Oh, the blind Dhritarashtra, by the divine grace of Krishna, temporarily regained his sight and was able to see Krishna in the Vishwarupa presence in every form. Pundarikaksha, lotus-eyed Krishna, having seen your Vishwarupa, I do not wish to see anything else. I ask that I should be blind again, said Dhritarashtra, and he became blind again. All our efforts have failed. Duryodhan is obstinate, said Dhritarashtra to Govinda. And and Krishna rose and with Satyaki and Vidura on either side of him left the court. He went straight to Kunti. He told her what had happened, and she asked him to convey her blessings to her son. The time has come, said she, for that for which Kshatriya woman brings forth son. May you protect my sons. And Krishna rose and with Satyaki and Vidura on either side of him left the court. He went straight to Kunti. He told her what had happened and she asked him to convey her blessings to her son. The time has come, said she, for that for which a Kshatriya woman bring forth sons. May you protect my sons. A Kshatriya mother brings forth children to be sacrificed in war. Purushottam Krishna got into the chariot and stepped towards Upaplavya. War became a certainty. Attachment and duty. Okay, my dear friends, let's stop here since we promised that we are going to do until here on day 10. Let me see if we have fulfilled our promise. Yeah, we did until Krishna's mission, so we have seen that war is now certain and Krishna returned back to Paplavya. Thank you, my dear friends, for reading with me. I hope you are also finding wisdom in, like, you are experiencing wisdom, because we are all lost in battles and many battles. So now I hope we can seek justice through this and also can implement Krishna's words in our life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namah Shivaya.